Hello, my sweet friends. I'm so glad to be back with y'all tonight. I hope y'all are doing well. I've just had different little things that's been going on that's kind of kept me from getting on here. I'll talk to you more about that as we get on with the recipe, but I've got a delicious one for us tonight. First, I want to show y'all these pork chops. I want y'all to look. I knew you wouldn't. Normally, I get all this part done before I get on here. Y'all know I wash them and I season them and do all that. Well, I'll pause y'all in a second and do that, but I wanted to show y'all the price of these pork chops. All right, y'all see this whole big pack? There's 7 in here. Big size bone-in pork chops. It was $4.83. Look at that. I know it's backwards, but that is $4.83. Y'all, you cannot beat that. I know a lot of times people say, well, we can go out and eat cheaper than you can get groceries. Well, maybe so, but not necessarily all the time. Like that, this is an incredible price. Don't ever pass these up. Like I wasn't even at the store to get pork chops, but I was in there yesterday, and so I grabbed these up. I actually had a different recipe that I was planning on doing today, but I thought since I've got those pork chops and they're good and they're fresh, I'm just going to do a pork chop recipe. Y'all know I love pork chops anyway, so it didn't hurt my feelings. Tonight we're going to do, y'all know how I love to do the pork chops in like a pan sauce and either let them simmer on the stovetop or I put them in the oven sometimes. Well, tonight we're going to do something similar to that. We're going to do a pan sauce, but we're going to add some potatoes, some green beans, and we're going to do a whole big meal in one in our casserole dish, okay? So let me, I'm not going to do all these tonight. The rest of them I will freeze. Oh yeah, another tip, let me tell y'all. So if you were to buy these and you're not planning on cooking them that day, make sure you take them out of this package, or you can wrap some more stuff around them, one or the other. Because the reason why I'm telling you that is like, look at this bone. You see how it has poked through that stuff? You know, you don't want them to freeze or burn. So you always want to make sure to either rewrap them or put them in a freezer bag. I prefer to take them out and put them in a freezer bag because most of the time I will separate them. But even if you are doing the whole pack, I would put them in a freezer bag. But either way, I just wanted to, I know a lot of you probably know that, but you know, there's always people that don't know. So I like to help people that maybe don't, and there's another little hole right over here. Anyway, let me get these washed and prepped up, and I'll be right back. All right, y'all, let's get our pork chops searing up over here. I have seasoned them up. I'll tell you in just a minute what I put on them, but I want to get them in here first. Yep, it's getting hot. Let me rinse my hand off. I'll be right back. Okay, so the seasonings that I used was just, y'all know that we have this one little combo that we've always used on our pork chops, our chicken, whenever we grill it. Well, I went back to that tonight, so I'm just using one of our favorite little combinations, and y'all may have used it since I've shown this before. My Cavender's Greek seasoning. Cavender's Greek seasoning. I'm aware this is backwards, okay? So I try to hold it up there so you can see. And this is just the Creole seasoning. Yeah, I don't have somebody else to video, so I have to do it this way so I can see what I'm doing. I know it may be aggravating to you, but it's just, I'm just videoing with my phone myself. I don't have any equipment or anything like that, so I'm just doing what I can do, okay? Black pepper, smoked paprika, and that's it. The Cavender's, the Creole, smoked paprika, black pepper, okay? Here, let's see if these are ready to flip over. Oh, yeah, that one's trying to bow up on it. I'll have to cut that a little bit. Yeah, y'all see, let me show you what I'm talking about. Y'all see how this one pork chop is wanting to bow up? All you have to do is take your knife and cut a little slit there. It's because of that fat is what causes it to do that. So I'm going to get a knife and just cut it a little bit, and that will flatten it back out. Okay? I'll be back in a second, y'all. Okay, y'all. I've got our pork chops all seared up. And you can see I just barely seared them. Just enough to keep those seasonings on there. Now, you can skip this step, you know, as I always tell y'all. But it does add a lot of extra flavor, okay? All right, I'm going to move our skillet over here so y'all can see a little bit better. I went ahead and put 2 tablespoons of butter in here so that it could be melting down. And we're going to get all that good flavor off the skillet and make our sauce. Or, yeah, skillet sauce or pan sauce. That's what you call it, isn't it? All right, so I'm just going to let this heat up. And I guess I can go ahead and put them in there. It's not going to matter. I'm going to put some onions in. I have these already sliced up from where I made the onion rings the other day. I didn't use all of them that I had sliced up. So they're kind of thinly sliced. I probably wouldn't do them this thin. But it doesn't matter. Onions is onions. They'll be just fine. So y'all can see how they are. But I'm going to let those cook down. Get all that good flavor. And by the way, y'all, those onion rings are so good. I tell you what, delicious. I'm just gonna let that get good and hot. I should have already had this burner on. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We need to go ahead and get our potatoes in here anyway. So let's do that. Y'all see I have some sliced potatoes here. Now you don't have to do these like paper thin or super thin. Because we're going to cook this for a little bit. So I just have them like, you know, you can see some are a little thicker than others, but about this size. You know, I just went through there. I didn't really worry about it too much because I think we'll get them good and done. They're spread out really good. So we've got that. Just put those in the bottom of your greased dish. I have my 9x13 here. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and season these directly. Of course, we're going to do some, can't see that, pepper, a little bit of black pepper. Okay, a little bit of paprika, just a little. And I'm using smoked paprika. You can use either one. I don't want too much on these, just a little. Okay. And something else that I decided that I was going to add to this dish is, y'all remember whenever I made the hash brown burgers the other day, I used a little bit of the onion Lipton soup in my burger. Well, I'm going to use the rest of that pack, well, if I can get it, in this dish. So this is maybe about half a pack, or maybe 3/4 of a pack. But anyway, I'm going to sprinkle this directly over our potatoes, okay? I just think that will add great flavor to the whole dish, and I thought it'd be better just to go ahead and put it on these. I'm going to save just a little bit, and I'm going to sprinkle that over our chops, okay? Y'all just hang with me. I'm going to do a little bit of olive oil so we can toss this around really good. And that's going to be all of our seasoning. Well, maybe I should do a little bit of salt. You know, I'm always nervous about the salt because everything has salt in it, but let's do a little pinch. Okay, little pinch. Now, that's up to you if you want to do that or not. All right, we're just going to take our hand and toss these around. Yeah, just use however much of the onion soup mix, y'all, that you think. I mean, if you want to do the whole pack, do the whole pack. You want to do a little bit, do a little bit. It don't matter. Okay. We got to get our green beans in here too. I've debated on if I just wanted to do the pork chops and potatoes and maybe do the green beans on the side, but I thought, you know, I'm going to go ahead and try to make this a one pot. I've never done it exactly like this, so I'm kind of experimenting, but I know everybody likes a one dish thing, so that's what we're going for. So let me get my hand washed up and get our green beans. Okay, so I have one of these 12-ounce bags of the fine green beans from Walmart. I love the fine ones. Now, I don't know that we're going to use all of these, And of course, if we don't, I can just toss this back in the freezer, and it's perfect to have if I want to throw it in a soup or anything. Or just make a quick little side dish for yourself, anything you want. But I don't think I'm going to need all of them. And I've been letting these sit out so they could kind of thaw out a little bit so they could cook evenly with everything else. Let's see, how many is that? There's a little bit left. I think I'm going to leave it at this. And I'll use those. There's a soup I'm wanting to make, so I'll have those to use for that. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do that many. Sprinkle those around in there, and then we're going to get our sauce made and get our pork chops back in there. Let me give me my hand rinse. Now tell you what we're going to do about these onions. Normally, I would just leave the onions in here and make the pan sauce with them, but since these are so big and bulky, and I have so many, which I think will be a great addition to the dish, but whenever I make just pork chops, I don't use this many. So I'm going to get these out, at least most of them. I might have a few still left in there. And we're going to start making our sauce, okay? Well, actually, I forgot we got to do our garlic. So let me get our garlic in there. Forgot all about that. I should have already put that in. And let this cook around for just a second. Let me get a little bit more butter. Y'all see, like when people ask for a written recipe, you can tell I do not have a written recipe for this. I am just doing as I go, y'all. And that's just the best way to do. We're going to take some of these onions, and we're going to go ahead and place some of them over this, okay? I think the thin slice will work good. But of course, remember that you can do them in bigger chunks if you want to. This is just what I had, so that's what I'm doing. They will add a lot of great flavor and liquid down there in those potatoes to help them cook real good. I'm going to save this little bit to put on top of our pork chops. And my garlic here, y'all, I just sliced up about 5 cloves of fresh garlic. Of course, you can use your refrigerator garlic, garlic powder, anything you want. You can even do this and use minced onion if you don't want to have the onion pieces in it, okay? So there's so many options, just depending on how you want it and how much you need and how much you love garlic. All right, let's add a little bit of flour. Y'all know I don't like doing much flour, but I'm gonna add a little bit. Let's see. How much is that? That may be about half a tablespoon, y'all. And you can always add more according to what you like. You know, you're supposed to do equal parts of butter and flour. I don't always do that, but that's how you're supposed to do it anyway. All right, just stir that around for a second. Let that start coming up. Okay, and now I'm going to start adding some of our chicken broth. I have about 2 1/4 cup here. I went ahead and filled it up a little bit over the 2 cups, but 2 cups is what I was going for. I just ended up with more. And pour some in. Let's go ahead and do about 1 cup or a little over. And y'all know I don't like it too thick, so you can always do more flour if that's what you want, okay? All right. Let this get back up and going. Y'all know it cools down for a second, and I'll be back. Okay, y'all, I have went on ahead and added in that whole 2 cups of chicken broth, a generous 2 cups. Remember, it was a little bit over the 2 cup mark. Now we're going to do a little bit of seasoning, some black pepper. I'm not going to do any salt on that, because I know I have it on the pork chops and the potatoes. And I'm going to do a little bit of thyme. Y'all know I love to do thyme in my pan sauces. I don't know what it is about it, but I just really like it. So I'm going to do maybe a 1/4 of a teaspoon or so. just kind of eyeball it, or you can leave it out if you know, don't think it's a good idea, then leave it out. Y'all don't have to always go by what I say. Because y'all know I'm liable to put anything in here. Alright, we got that mixed around. Let's put in a little bit of parsley, of course. I'm just going to sprinkle some in. Give it that good color. Alright, and then we got some W sauce over here we're going to add in. Y'all knew that. Let's see. Just sprinkle some in, just like that. Okay. And then I have this browning seasoning. Now this is just to kind of change the color a little bit, and I'm going to put about a capful of that in here. Okay. Just a little bit. It will kind of darken it up a little bit for us. Okay. Yeah, there we go. This is coming together, y'all. And then we're going to add our heavy cream, and that will be it. I'm thinking. I think that is all of it. All right, so we're going to start on our heavy cream. Well, I thought this was already open. Goodness gracious. All right, so about, let's start with about half a cup. What do y'all think? Y'all think it's going to be good? I do. And I am ready for this. You know, I haven't had a good home-cooked meal in a minute. Y'all see what I'm talking about with that browning season? And then you put the heavy cream in there. And I love the color that it makes after you put that in there. Let me get the rest of it out. Okay. Dripping that everywhere. Let's go ahead and get this put together. Okay. Let's see. Let me find a good spoon here that I can use. Where's my y'all, I'm all over the place tonight. All right. So we have our sauce here, and we're going to pour some of it over right now, and then we're going to pour some over after we put our pork chops in. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and turn this off. Now let me grab our pork chops. Let's see here. Let me back y'all up now so you can see a little bit more. So you see we poured about probably a good half, and we're just going to plate. I hope these will fit. These are, y'all, these are some big pork chops. I'm telling you what, for that price, it's just amazing. I mean, they're thick, they're big, it's just, you can't beat it. Cannot beat it. I hear a little bell. She's been upstairs. I've been hearing her up there doing something. She's probably hiding something in the bed. She just wanders around and does her own little thing, y'all. You never know what she might be doing. Kind of push them down in there like this. Let's go ahead and pour this over. That good flavor there. Okay. Kind of poke them down in there. Uh-oh. Now she's doing something else. I don't know what she's barking at now. Alright, poke them down in there like that. This in here is not going down in there the way I want it to. No, that's a little bit better. Okay. Now, of course, you can do boneless. And if you want to cook a lot, boneless is the better way to go because you can fit more in there. But I love these good bone-in pork chops, y'all. If y'all see those little chunks, remember that's our garlic and some pieces of onion and that sort of stuff. Yeah, this is going to be right up at the top. Get all that out. What is it, Belle? I got dishes piled up over here, y'all. What do y'all think? This is going to be good. See, we got it. You want to have enough liquid so those pork chops don't dry out. That's why you want to have a lot like this, okay? All right, let me get out something else that we're going to put on it. Well, first, let's go ahead and do the rest of our onions here. Just a few that we saved out. These sauteed onions look good. Belle, come here. Come here. You want to go out? You go outside? Want to go outside? Come here. Come here. All right, now I have some little pats of butter here that I'm going to place over the top. Okay? There must be a cat under the carport or something. Oh my, yep, I can tell the way she's acting. I'm sorry, y'all. Bella, come here. You want to go out? Let's go outside. Mama's going out. She ain't paying me a bit of attention, y'all. All right, there's our butter. Okay? Now let me think. Did I do everything that I wanted to do? Because I know I think this up in my mind. Oh no, there was one other thing. Remember, I wanted to add the rest of this onion soup mix on our pork chops up here on top. Okay. That is a perfect amount. All right, y'all, I am going to cover this with some foil. I have my oven on 350. I don't know exactly how long I'm going to cook it, and I probably won't even check it before 45 minutes, or maybe even an hour, okay? But look at this. I think this is going to be a win-win, y'all. All right, let me cover it and get it in the oven and get her calmed down, and I'll be back. Hey, y'all, look at our dish here. I've got to let it cool for a bit, but I wanted to show it to you as soon as I got it out. How about that? This looks amazing. Does it not, y'all? I love the look of it. So anyway, I'm going to let this cool for a bit, but I'll go ahead and tell you what I did. So I did, you remember I told you I put my oven on 350 and, you know, I covered it. So I did 350 and then I checked it at 45 minutes. I knew it wasn't done at 45 minutes, but since I've never done it exactly this way, I just wanted to kind of get an idea of where we were. If I make this again, which I probably will, I would do 375 covered for 1 hour. You wouldn't even have to touch it before 1 hour. And I say that because, you know, it takes potatoes a while to cook in the oven, and they need to be at a higher temperature. So I really didn't think about that with the 350. I was just thinking I normally cook the pork chops on 350 covered for an hour, and they're usually done. However, you know, it takes potatoes a little bit longer. So I recommend, now if you want to do 350, you can, but I recommend doing 375 for 1 hour. Okay, and then I took the foil off, and then I cranked it up to 400. However, I don't know if I would have done that had I cooked it on 375. So if you want to just take the foil off and leave it on 375, I think that would work out great also. But I'll tell you what I did. I took the foil off, cooked it on 400 for 30 more minutes. And that was perfect timing. But I think if you wanted to leave it on 375, you could probably cook it for maybe about another 20 minutes or so, because you got to think you've already cooked it on 375 where I cooked mine on 350. I hate to confuse y'all, but I just always want to be honest and tell you if I feel like there's a better way than what I did it, if it's something that I've never done before. So you can't go wrong with it. All you got to do is stick a fork in there and kind of check and see how tender the chops are, how the potatoes are cooking up, and you'll kind of know. But I just always like to give you kind of an idea. So I recommend 375, 1 hour covered, uncover, and then if you want to crank it up for about another 15 minutes or so on 400, you can. But you could also just leave it on 375 and cook it maybe another 20 minutes or so. It's really not going to matter. It's just all up to you, how quick you want to get it done. And I don't want to keep rambling about it, but it bothers me whenever I feel like there's another way than what I have shown y'all. It's just kind of something I'm just picky about. But anyway, and then after that, you know, like I said, I did 30 minutes uncovered on 400, and then I turned it on broil and let the top, you know, get that good color. And that maybe takes about 5 minutes, you know, just to kind of brown everything up. So anyway, it looks absolutely amazing. It smells amazing. Everything is just fork tender. I've been poking around in it. So like I said, so I could kind of keep up with how it was cooking. So anyway, y'all, let me let this cool. I'm going to get me a plate out and we are going to taste it. Oh, and by the way, little Miss Bella finally settled down over here, little hot pants. She's back snoozing a little bit now, but she was wound tight there for a while. Anyway, I'll be back in a second. Okay, let's get some of this out and give it a taste test, y'all. I have waited long enough. Try to get this pork chop out. It looks like it's kind of trying to... Oh, that is still so hot, y'all. Looks like it's trying to fall apart on me. Oh, goodness. And these onions, y'all, I should have cut them a little bit more because they look so stringy. Which, normally I would not have had onions cut that way, but y'all know, I used what I had, and they're kind of stringy like, so don't cut your onions like that unless you've already got them cut like I did. But y'all see these potatoes are just falling apart, so you have to be really gentle. You don't want to be in there stirring it or anything like that. And something else I forgot to tell y'all too, let me grab my spoon over here. Whenever you take them out to take the foil off and uncover them, be sure and dip down in here in this liquid and spoon it over the top, okay? Also, you know, I did 2 cups and a little bit over 2 cups, a good heaping 2 cups of the chicken broth. Actually, I think if I do this again, I will do probably more about 1 3/4 of a cup, because you got to think, you got those onions in there, you got the butter, you have other things that's going to produce liquid. So I think 1 3/4 will be just fine. Okay, just kind of baste it like I said, or spoon it over, not necessarily basting, but yeah. And y'all, these potatoes are so nice and tender. There's nothing worse than having a dish like this and having a crunchy potato. It's just the worst thing. These onions, y'all, I tell you what, I don't like them being like this, but, you know, I told you, you know, what happened. But anyway, this is just some of the potato and green bean. I got to get into this pork chop, too. Y'all are gonna love this. I promise you, you're gonna love this. I've had so many people tell me about how much they love the pork chop, just the pork chop recipe by itself. You will love this too. Y'all, this is so good, and it's just all one deal. Almost like cooking a pot roast or something like that. Now, if you want to leave the green beans out, cook them on the side or another side dish, that's perfectly fine too. Just add your liquid accordingly to how much stuff you have. You can always just, if you want to cut back on liquid, or if you're cooking a big batch, just always, you can always adjust that with your chicken broth, okay? And then maybe add a little bit of extra seasoning or a little bit less seasoning if you're making a smaller amount. You know what I'm saying? But as far as your liquid goes, just cut back or add your chicken broth, okay? Yep, y'all gonna love this so much. Let me try to get me a bite This pork chop, like I said, it's just falling apart. I mean, I'm just pulling it off here with my fork. Mmm. Mmm. Look at that, y'all. This just pulled right off here. Mmm. Delicious, y'all. Mmm. I love it. Like I said, I'll make a few adjustments next time, but that has nothing to do with the flavor. I'm talking about just some amounts and the cooking time and that sort of stuff. But the flavor, look at the potato. Oh, they are so good. Mmm, delicious. Okay, y'all. I have kept y'all long enough trying to get this just right for y'all. Let's see. I don't think I have anything else to tell you about it. It's just delicious. Y'all try it. Just kind of experiment with it like I did with, you know, your amounts and your cooking time to suit however you like it. You can always do boneless pork chops. I think if you were to use like your big 9x13 and you did boneless, you could easily get 8-10 boneless pork chops in there to make a lot more. You can always do this in the crock pot. It would be perfect that way. If you don't want to do the whole searing method and sauteing your onions and all of that, you do not have to. You can place everything in the dish just like I did. Your potatoes, your green beans, your onions. Place your pork chops on top. And then you can just mix up that sauce and just pour it over if you want to do it that way. Just make sure and mix everything together, like your liquid and your seasonings and all that. And maybe season your pork chops and your potatoes that way, and then just kind of pour everything in there together. Put your pats of butter on there. That would work out too if you want just an easy, quick, toss together meal. If you have time, do it the way that I showed you. But if you don't, it'll still be delicious. The flavor is amazing. Okay, y'all. I'm going to get off of here and enjoy this, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.